Well, hello, friend, and welcome to another episode of Van Life Living in New York. I don't know how this will work out. It's supposed to be raining right now, but it's not. And I got all dressed up for the rain. I'm in my rain boots and everything, my rain hat, but so far so good, and I'm staying dry. But I thought I'd stop and, I just have this creek behind me and this nice little area to sit at that I thought I would say hello. The truth is, I come out here because, I can. I actually went to help a friend today, which he ended up not needing any help, but while I was there, he has a roommate, and they kind of got on a topic that just isn't so much something I wanted to talk about. So I didn't. But I sometimes forget about that, friend. What it's like when you're around people having conversations that you don't want to have. And I do it enough times, but this was some real conversation I really didn't want to have from old time stuff. But what I found is that my relationship with God is far more important to me than conversations that have no meaning, friend. So I just try to be everything for my Father and do what it is He would have me do. And what He would have me do is love my neighbor as myself. See, because, love is the way. It's always been the way. But there was a time in my life where it really wasn't the way, friend, to be quite honest with you. I'll tell you what, I'm getting warm, and since it's not raining, I think I'll take this hat off. It's just a beautiful day out here. So I come out here to walk along the creek, and they have some most beautiful views in this Evansburg Park, friend. And so I really needed to further my relationship with God today after that first initial conversation that got started earlier. Now the thing is, before that conversation, I was actually doing a presentation from Montgomery County Police Department, which of course is about mental health, and it's not supposed to be, but it always turns out about this Jesus, right? Because, I talk about mental health on my perspective of it. And since people consider me a voice here because I talk to God, they see me as mentally ill. I see me as happy. But Jesus said that would happen, friend. So it doesn't bother me anymore, and I use it to help people. Because I can talk and they take it as mental illness. I get to talk Jesus and what He said. In fact, I got to talk about how Jesus said, loving those who love you, that's easy. Even the sinners and tax collectors do that. What good credit is that to you? So I got to explain to them today about some of the things Jesus said and why it is that I believe what I believe and why it is I do what I do. And, it doesn't matter whether anybody buys into a bit of my babble. Once I realized that they're not supposed to, just like Jesus knew they weren't going to buy into Him, right? And He was healing the sick and raising the dead, and they still crucified Him. So a guy like me that's not doing anything special out there talking about this love of Christ, they're not going to have any more love for me than they did for Him. And friend, a lot of His followers probably don't even like me because I talk about what He talked about, and I'll be quite honest with you, most of the people that say they know Jesus don't know what Jesus said. They go to church once a week and the church tells them what they want to hear instead of what Jesus said. And so at the end of the day, or shall we say at the end of the age, they're going to be caught unprepared because the church wanted to fill them full of joy instead of full of truth. Because Jesus said that He was going to deny those that called themselves His disciples at the end of the age. So it's important. Now, I'll tell you the truth though. By doing the things He asked, you find a greater love. That's what I was just talking about with the other stuff. When you start feeding the hungry and clothing the naked and helping other people, you feel better about yourself. You feel better about God's relationship. You feel better about helping people. It's just the way it is. It makes you feel like a better person. But a lot of people don't know that. because they don't know that they're going to miss the opportunity to really use this world for what it was meant to be, and that is to come to know love by experience. I did question one of the police officers there about how, if they had someone in their life that they thought really loved them, and they said, yeah. I said, well, how do you know that they love you? And they were kind of baffled by the question. I said, do they do things to put you ahead of themselves? Is that how you know love, that they love you? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, that's how God knows we love them. That's how other people know. Friend, when I'm out doing the things he asks, like feeding the hungry, I'm putting them ahead of me by making my life about helping them. And therefore they can know that I love them because there's no other reason for me to do it. And that's how they'll get to know Jesus' love. Because if they start talking to me about stuff, I'll just tell them where I got this love and why it is I do what I do. Most people don't want to know, and they don't ask, so they don't have to be told. But that's not my problem, friend. My job is to just come out here and know love by experience, give to another what I seek for myself, and that's about as good as it gets. Doesn't have to be that I get credit for it. Jesus said, what do you want credit for it? It's your job. So it's my job. That's what I do, because that's what he told me is my job. But it turns out it just creates this thing called the kingdom, where you end up with great joy. And I don't need other people to give it to me, friend. I'm out here in the woods talking to the Holy Spirit. Out here I have a relationship with my Father. See, when I'm out here in the woods by myself, I don't come out here for me. I come out here for him and me. Here we're together. We think about what we're thinking about together. And he gives me the right thoughts so that I can come back to peace and joy after I've had an experience like I did a little while ago, where I started thinking about things I didn't want to think about. Because when people go down the wrong road, I'll go with them quick. And I don't want to do that in my life anymore, friend. There was a time I was very lustful. See, you start talking about this women and sex and all that, I'd go right down that road, but I'm not going down that road anymore. If I go down that road, I end up down that road, and I don't want to be there. I'm now at this different place with peace, love, and joy through my Father and this Holy Spirit. And all of that insanity didn't bring me any joy, friend. I was trying to hide from the pain, but it just brought more pain than the pain I had before. It just piles it on top of one another. What makes you feel good for a second makes you feel guilty for days. It's just not worth it. I understand why Jesus said what he said now, and I want to be a son, not like he said. He said that if you want to be a son, then you don't want to sin because, basically, I'm not a slave to my Father's will, even though I am. I choose to serve him because it's the right thing, and it feels good. Because if I'm not hurting others, even in unintentional ways, it doesn't mean that I'm going to not be able to unintentionally ever hurt anybody. It means that I can be very aware of the things I do. It means my days of drinking, drugs, gambling, sex, all those days are over for me. And if I don't choose to let them be over, then I choose to sin against my Father, and therefore I have to feel guilty about it. That's the nature of it. And my Father's looking for children, not for people that are going to hurt other people, because everyone's my Father's child. So if I'm willing to hurt his children, then I got to accept that I'm going to have to pay the consequences to that. And I'm done paying the consequences, even unless I got more to come, who knows. I'm in joy now. That's what matters. The eternal moment of now. My life might not be perfect, but I'm perfectly at peace except for when I'm not. And when I'm not, it's because I make a wrong choice. I didn't lose my peace really earlier, friend, because I didn't get wrapped up and participate in that conversation. I got a little uncomfortable for a minute because they were trying to drag me into it, but I didn't buy. So I don't have to worry about it. I just told him I remembered a time in my life when I used to think a lot like that. Tell you the truth, friend, I did a lot of things I regretted back in the day when I drank and was chasing the world. I just don't want to chase those things anymore because they don't bring me peace, joy, and love. They bring me guilt and suffering, and who wants that? Not I, says I. I've come to realize greatness actually is suffering. Because for me to be great, you have to be less. For you to be great, I have to be less. Or somebody does, right? That's the way we judge everything. Everything's a comparison, a judgment. So if I judge you as less, then I can be more. But I won't judge either you as more or less because we're just equals. We're children of God. And therefore, I don't care what color you are. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what you have and you don't have. You and I are equals, friend. And I don't care if you see it that way or not. The only thing I've got to do is see it from that point of view, and then I'm at peace. And it doesn't mean that my eyes don't lie to me. And friend, I was taught a lot of horrible things early on. I was just like everybody else. I got taught that one person was more than another because they had more and because they were this or that. And that's all lies. That's for the people that want to be in the world. Not for people that want my Father's kingdom. And that's what I want now, my Father's kingdom. And out here, I get it. And I give it to Him because He gives it to me. That's what love's for, to share. Why not give it to my Creator, which is my Father, which is the one who gives me the love that I have? Friend, I couldn't find the kind of love I needed to help other people to let go of my selfishness until I found this Holy Spirit. And I found it through that message of Jesus by doing the things He asked. So if you know this Jesus, I do suggest you might go read Jesus and do the things He asked, because He said, give your gifts in secret so they'll be stored in the kingdom. There's a purpose for that, friend. It's like putting your money in the bank. It's drawing interest while it's sitting there, and then later my Father will let you make a withdrawal. And then you end up with the kingdom here instead of there. And then because you have it here, you'll know you're getting it there. That's what I find. All right, friend. Well, I just stopped to say hello and I love you because, well, I'm in a beautiful Evansburg Park, which I haven't been in a long time. Just so much beauty here and so much to be grateful for. There was geese on the creek there, and before that there was a mallard, or actually after that was a mallard duck right over here a little bit ago. So that's all. It's just a grand old time. So friend, know I love you because my Father loves you. May God bless you and yours.